Hello. Welcome. This is the Rebound Coach Live, and my name is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach. Y'all, I am so excited that you're here tonight. Tonight is really different. If you are watching on Facebook, you can see that it's different. I'm not in my normal place. I don't look normally. Like, what is this? What's going on? It's kind of dark in there, Dallas. So things were different today for a lot of reasons. But before we get into all that, if you're like, who are you? What is a rebound coach? I see this person looking weird. Hi, Jamie. Glad you're here. You see somebody looking weird, kind of going through your stream. You're like, what in the world is that? So I'm a life coach. Life coaches help people get unstuck. And I've been a coach for a long time, but I was helping people stay married and doing relationship coaching in the faith-based space. And then my marriage fell apart. What? Yeah, it's funny, but it's not. The 30-second version of the story, I was married to a person for 10 years who actually wanted me dead. And come January 2020, him and his affair partner were actually plotting my murder. Through a miraculous series of events, I'm alive. My children are alive. We're thriving. We're doing well. God has been so good to us. And I am in the season of growing, healing, changing, renewing my identity, and choosing life. I really had a choice in that time in my life to allow the person that my ex-husband had planned for me to become, and that I had honestly agreed to become. Tell me who I was allowed to be, what kind of life I was allowed to have, or I could choose life. And so I wrote a memoir from that, and I'm reaching for it because I'm not in my normal spot. So my book is called I Choose Life, Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. And if any of that resonates with you, if you've lived through domestic violence, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, if you lived with someone who had a mental illness, if you cared for someone with just chronic illness in general, this book will speak to you and give you a path to choosing life for yourself and changing your legacy, changing the legacy that you leave for not just your children, but for the people who are watching you. Because all of us have people who are watching us. And so today, you can find that book at, if you're listening on Clubhouse and not on Facebook, you can find that book at thereboundcoach.com/book, thereboundcoach.com/book is where you can find that book. It's called I Choose Life, Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. And so today we're going to talk about something interesting. And as you know, if you've been hanging around these lives for a minute, these topics come out of my real life. They don't come out of a book. They come out of my real life and my real experience. And today I just had a memory flash up. I'm the kind of person, I have the honor of serving high achieving women of faith who've lived through betrayal, trauma, and abuse, and are on the path to changing their relationship with themselves. They're growing, they're learning to love themselves, they're changing the dance and how they've treated themselves to change their life, change their circumstance. And so I'm on that path myself, as you might notice. And I remembered something today. I'm the kind of person that likes to show up perfect, okay? Or as close to perfect as possible, all right? Everything's planned out. Everything is well thought through. There's definitely notes. So normally when I come to do one of these lives, I have notes. Today is the day I don't have notes, y'all, which could be good or could be bad. We'll find out together. But what I will tell you is a memory flashed up for me, and I posted about it on Facebook. If you follow me, I'm at facebook.com/the Rebound Coach. Facebook, facebook.com/the Rebound Coach. You can find me there. And I posted this. So I remember the day I was expected to be Superwoman. Like, I remember that day. It was dinner time. I was about 17 years old, and I don't want to call myself a child prodigy, but I was in that, kind of formed up in that way. So I started college. I was accepted to college when I was 16. I started like right before I turned 17 is when I started college. And so I was 17 years old and in the biggest depressed state of my life at that time. I was molested from the time I was 8 to the time I was 16. So my abuser had left the home by the time I was 17, like in that time frame. And there was a different abuser that was in the home at that time. And so I had admired this man. Catch it. I was 17. He was 32. I admired this man. He was a friend of the family. I looked up to him. He seemed to have a respect for me. And we had a friendship before he began to abuse me. And so there was one night I had done something wrong. I don't remember what I did. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but my parents were talking about the wrong thing I did at the dinner table. And I remember how incredulous this man looked when he heard whatever it was I did. He was like, "Dallas, you did that? Like you? I can't believe that you did that." And it wasn't the words, it was the way he was saying it. It was really clear what he was communicating. I was suddenly aware that I wasn't allowed to make mistakes. I wasn't allowed, like I had a reputation of having it all together, of doing it right, and I would upset someone or let someone down if I did something wrong. So I just remember that moment, and I just kind of decided like, oh no, I can't let any ugly show, right? I can't let any mistakes show. And now, even that's a relative term because I felt physically ugly, right? So it's not that I was trying to hide. Well, I can't even say that. I can't even say that. So I did hide my body in clothing, didn't do certain activities, etc. Right? But also hiding any imperfections as best you can, right? So I spent a lot of time trying to present the best and being very concerned about how other people would think of me. And I don't think that's unique to me. I think that's a pretty common sentiment, especially among women and especially among high achievers. We kind of set ourselves a reputation naturally, not because we're trying to get attention or trying to do whatever. Very naturally, when you do well in a thing, you get praised for that thing. That's how this society works anyway. And you kind of get a rep for perfect grades. You get a rep for a clean room. You get a rep for, if you do well in sports. Or I worked with a woman once whose mother used to dress her up in a certain way, like a doll. And she continued in that in her adult life, all the way to kind of abusing exercise because she wanted to stay looking like a doll. So a lot of people, okay, I see your comments. Sorry about that. Yeah, so a lot of people, high achieving women in particular, feel like they have to keep a rep. And so for me, part of that was continuing to hide. So as you grow up, it changes what you hide, right? And how you hide. It just kind of compounds. And so, and you also never quite feel safe, right? There's no place that feels safe. I was speaking with someone a few weeks ago about trust in general. Trust for God, trust in yourself, trust in other people, right? So folks who don't trust anyone or anything, they also never feel safe. there's a safety in trust, right? It's a faith, right? I was speaking to someone else and says, I do things intellectually. I understand the world intellectually, and it's hard. We're talking about faith, and it was hard for her to make that leap, because faith is not an intellectual exercise, right? The issue with trusting intellect, when we trust intellect, that is still a trust, right? Because intellects can be wrong too. But either way, when you don't quite ever feel safe, it's a hamster wheel you get on, and you just running and running and running, and not only are you not getting anywhere, but it's exhausting. And I remember some years back when I was married, I was in a church, and it wasn't the first time I thought this, but I wanted to just climb out of the body I was in and be free of it. Not necessarily about my body, but the life that I was encased in, the history I was encased in, the home I had to go back to, the responsibilities on my shoulders, the reputation I needed to keep up. I just wanted to be free of that. I would fantasize about it. Like, what if I could just step out of my body and run away? What would I do? What would I go do? And I don't think I'm alone in that either. Right? It can be really exhausting to never feel like you can relax, never feel like you can tell the whole truth. One of the reasons I was excited to write my book is I wanted to tell the whole truth. I'd been a people helper for many years, and I'd been helping people in relationship for several years. And you don't do that effectively without telling the truth, right? So I wasn't being deceitful. However, I couldn't tell the whole truth, right? I couldn't tell the whole truth. And I think that, if people got close, they started to see more and more of the whole truth. And then I'd have to kind of do damage management or public relations, right? Oh, well, he didn't really mean that, right? And the particular kind of abuse that the kind of marriage I was in, the professionals will call that narcissistic abuse, where someone stirs up trouble just because they want to. So he would start rumors and tell lies in the church family I was in. Dallas said this, or Dallas thinks of that. He would betray trust if I did confide in him for anything. He'd go back to that person and just like stir up strife for the sake of it, right? So if you can imagine me being someone who cared too much, and I'm still learning, cared too much about people's opinion, and then having someone stir up strife. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. So if you identify with that feeling of, oh my God, I got to keep up. I got to keep up. I got to keep up. No one can see me sweat. No one can know the whole truth. You're not alone, right? And so for me as a business person and a people helper, right? As a business person and a people helper, and something to say, that's going to help. I've been kind of muzzled by that perfectionism and muzzled by that reputation I needed to keep up, or felt I needed to keep up. The reality is, when your natural skill and ability built the reputation to begin with, perfectionism doesn't keep it, because your natural abilities made it in the first place. You were already good enough to create whatever good reputation that you have. Your character brought you there. Your natural skills and talents brought you there. So adding, perfectionism or public relations or risk management, however fancy word you want to call that, fakery, to keep up appearances is really, it's a losing game. It's a losing game. Inauthenticity is a losing game. And so I say that because I was doing this myself. Those of you who have me as a Facebook friend, a personal Facebook friend is Dallas Cohen, or that you're on the Facebook group, I don't post too much on the personal side. I don't post that much. I should be posting, right? As a person in business who uses social media to connect with people, I should be posting, right? But I wasn't. And I'd have thoughts. I'm like, this would be a good thing to share. But I wouldn't, because, what if I say the wrong thing and this group of people don't like it? And what if that group of people don't like it? Right? And so it's so much easier to just sit in silence. It's so much easier to just watch life and watch other people make mistakes and be like, I didn't do that one. But what do they say? A closed mouth don't get fed. I think I'm saying that right. Somebody can tell me if that's the right phrase. But when you don't share, when you're not taking a risk, no reward, right? And there's the other really important thing, especially for those of you who are people helpers, who have something that's going to impact the world or impact another soul. They're waiting on you to share. They're waiting, And so I'm saying publicly, I'm going to share more on social media and share more in general, because there's people who are waiting for the message in me and the message in you. Okay, so today's topic is a safe place for Superwoman. regardless of the reputation you've given yourself, regardless of the trust issues that you feel like protect you, that really handcuff you and put something over your mouth so you can't speak, and bind your legs together so you can't move forward in a literal and a metaphorical sense, an emotional sense. You can't move forward. You can't speak out. You can't, move around, because we're stuck in whatever you feel like you're stuck in, right? Whatever. I can't say this because, I can't do that because. Those are that stuck place. And so I just want to invite you. We're in a special place in my house. Okay. So I did post this story. It's a good story. And we did a live where I told the story too. So I won't do the full out, but part of narcissistic abuse or emotional abuse in a marriage is isolation. And so I was isolated, not just from that big church, but any church. When I was married, we didn't go to any church. And trust me, like, hindsight, I can see that was an isolation as part of an abuse tactic. While I was in it, I was convinced that was the right thing to do. Not only, it wasn't him isolating me, it was us against the world. And we're supposed to be like this, and shame on those other people, like the whole bit. Anyway, part of all that was my passion for music and worship, just kind of being stifled for years. And so it was in my heart that I wanted a place in my home where worship could live, right? Where music could live, where worship could live. And it's my sanctuary. And so I have a prayer room, a sanctuary room here in my home. And that's what you see behind me. This is where I'm sitting today. It's also half office. So we're working on that, where I have a home where sanctuary is just sanctuary. But for now, it's shared space with the office. And that's where I'm sitting today. And part of today sitting here is not just to show you a sanctuary, but, it takes certain kind of effort and time to get set up in the other room where we normally are. And I just didn't have that time today. And instead of pressing to make sure I showed up perfect, I'm just showing up as is. And instead of pressing that I have perfectly laid out notes, I'm just going to show up as is and say, here I am. I hope we resonate. We resonate. Let's roll together. And if we don't, that's okay too. It really is okay. You know, and some people will say, well, I have a standard for myself. It's not about other people. If your standard for yourself doesn't allow for humanity, mistakes, freedom, change, flexibility, then you're holding the wrong standard. And yes, I used right and wrong. You're holding the wrong standard if you're not allowing yourself freedom and flexibility, right? In the press, in the striving, in the achieving, in the victories, in the hustle, in the grind. Allow for freedom, allow for breath, allow for flexibility, allow for things to be different. And I know that there's some of us that really struggle with different, that really struggle with out of the routine and something I can't expect and something I can't control, right? I understand. Can't give you a pass, but I understand. That's just part of it. And so creating a safe place for your Superwoman, whether you are the Superwoman, you know a Superwoman, you care about a Superwoman, you want to create a safe space for her, it's not hard, right? Or I would say it's not complicated, right? When there is a mistake, say, oh, you did a great job. When you hear her beating herself up, and if it's you, when you hear yourself beating yourself up, because you can hear it in your head, stop. Just stop midstream and forgive yourself. Give yourself permission to be wherever it is you are at the time, doing whatever it is you need to be doing at the time. You know what? It's okay. Because I am a safe place for me. Right? That's an affirmation. It's okay because I am a safe place for me. Okay? Or if you're talking to someone else, you're safe here. When they apologize, that's something else that we do a lot. We apologize for things that don't need apology, right? When we apologize for like sneezing or breathing or oh, I'm sorry. This, like, we apologize for all sorts of things. It's okay. You're safe here. And if you say that to somebody and at first they're like, that's weird. But just every time there's a, inappropriate apology, unnecessary apology, say it again. It's okay. You're safe here. It's okay. You're safe here. Just, and I promise you, like, he takes a deep breath. You're safe here. It's okay. You're safe here. You can say that to the mirror. Okay. It's okay. You're safe here. I'm safe with myself. I'm safe with myself. When you catch somebody who's super judgmental, right? Like really judgmental, it's generally they are judgmental to themselves the most, right? They need safety more. They need safety more than the people who are like, sloppy and messy and make mistakes all the time and go, oh well. The other folks, the got it together folks, they need it more. And so not only do I have the honor of having a sanctuary space in my home, my partner and I have been able to create sanctuary as an experience for women. And we have one coming up. I want to share it with you. It is coming up in about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. Coming up so soon. September 16th, 17th, and 18th. That is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it is in Clearwater Beach, no less. And I want to share a little clip with you about it. So, of course, if you are on Clubhouse listening in, you're not able to see, but there's some speaking. So hopefully you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to share this with you. Yivarechecha Adonai Ve'yishmerecha Yael Adonai Panav Alecha V'yinecha Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha Ve'yasem Lecha Lecha Shalom. So I have a question for you. When's the last time you showed up for yourself? I mean, really showed up for yourself. I'm Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and if you're anything like me, you wake up every day off to the races. You're constantly chasing achievement and chasing productivity and feel like you have this never-ending to-do list that just you can't even get to because you're too busy putting out fires every day. And somehow, in the shuffle, over the years, you've lost the happy and wondering where the satisfaction went. This is why we've created Sanctuary. Sanctuary is an experience that's a 3-day private VIP journey designed with a high-achieving, effective, powerful female servant leader in mind. Join us for an experience like no other, where we take you through our signature journey where you'll identify, address, and release your current stress. You get to experience sacred rituals that restore. You meet a new sisterhood and spend time away from all of the distractions and all of the stress and all of the issues that bring us down. You'll leave Sanctuary ready to impact the world and be the leader that you know that you've always been meant to be. It's coming up really soon, and there are only 10 spots available, so don't wait. So, I don't know about you. Maybe you've got no stress at all. You are on top of that to-do list. Your schedule is tight and on point and perfect, and everything is going really great for you. But just in case, if you're a woman who works as a mom, an entrepreneur, a coach, a helpmate, a healthcare professional, if you're a caretaker, if you're a boss lady, if you're a leader, a giver, or an all-around servant, Sanctuary is for you. Your next step is going to thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary and joining us. Your vacation awaits, and I can't wait to introduce you to you. I'll see you there. All right. Now, in the video, I said that there were 10 spots. There are less than 10 spots right now. So if you heard about this from Malikia Courtney or myself, I would recommend that you not wait. I would recommend that you not wait and say, oh, next time. Oh, I've got this. Oh, I've got that. This is your life. These are your days. You don't get your days back. So you can spend your days in perpetual perfection, or I should say the perpetual pursuit of perfection, or you can choose life, y'all. You can choose life. This is an invitation. This is an opportunity to choose life and to experience Sanctuary. Join us in Clearwater Beach, September 16th, 17th, and 18th. You can find out more information at thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary, thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary. To follow up this conversation, I will be on Clubhouse chatting it up with folks who want to talk about their experience as a superwoman or a superman and feeling like you had to keep up with appearances, how that worked out for you, what you did to be free. Okay. You can find us on Clubhouse at the name of the room is called just what the name of this talk is. A safe place for Superwoman, the Rebound Coach Live. You can find that on the club Sanctuary XP Master Key Mindset. We're hanging out for a little bit to chat it up. So feel free to join us over there. Or if you're watching this replay on Facebook, leave me a comment. Let me know if this resonates with you, if you feel like you've had to be Superwoman or Superman, if you feel like you've had to be perfect. And tell me about your safe place. If you have one, tell me about your safe place. I'm curious to know. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, choose life.